because it's time for the news capsule, which we've redubbed the time capsule as we go back 30 years. Do you want to go back in time, John?
Oh, I'd love to.
Here we go.
And let's go to Donny Laible right now with the Pro Wrestling Spotlight News Capsule of the Week. Don, are you there?
Thank you, John, and good evening, everyone. World Championship Wrestling has announced 4 of its matches to be part of the live lineup presented in Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Mecca Arena on February 29th Super Brawl 2 pay-per-view. Lex Luger puts his WCW heavyweight belt on the line against Sting. Rick Rude's United States title is up for grabs with Ricky Steamboat. Cactus Jack and Abdullah will battle inside a steel cage. And Jushin Thunder Liger gives Brian Pillman another shot at regaining the WCW light heavyweight strap. Turning to the World Wrestling Federation, sources report Marty Jannetty, formerly one half of the Rockers tag team with Shawn Michaels, has had his services terminated by the Federation. Now, no specific reasons have come public as of yet, but the roster movement apparently has already taken place. And sticking with WWF newsbreakers, several matches for the WrestleMania show on April 5th are set. Roddy Piper will meet Bret Hart. Jake Roberts challenges The Undertaker. Hulk Hogan goes one-on-one with Sid Justice. And Ric Flair defends the WWF heavyweight title against Macho Man Randy Savage. Now, much happened this past weekend at WWF TV tapings in Texas to reshape the action plan for the Hoosier Dome show in Indianapolis. And the one-hour special to air this coming Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Fox Television Network will have for the main event Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan opposing Ric Flair and The Undertaker. Now, during this match, as Hogan was being double-teamed, Sid reportedly turned his back on the Hulkster and later was seen being managed by Harvey Whippleman. Another important development in Texas was The Undertaker coming to the aid of Elizabeth when Jake Roberts was about to hit her. Now, The Undertaker was cheered by those in the arena. And also with the WWF, Demolition Crushed returned as well, but this time without the facial makeup. And former WWF champion Pedro Morales is set to return to the ring next month. Now, Morales, who captured the title 21 years ago in Madison Square Garden, will wrestle in Japan for the Upstart Wing promotion. And the big news coming out of the Global Dome in Texas this past Friday night, the Dark Patriot, managed by Bruce Prichard, defeated the Patriot for the Global Wrestling Federation's North American Championship. Now, while with the WWF, Prichard was known as Brother Love. And finally, it's a match made in heaven, for real. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Medusa Michelli were married this past Wednesday. Capsule time, 10:25.
Okay, the ticker grew on me.
Yeah.
I like the ticker now. It's corny, but I like it.
If it's used properly, it
I forgot that Eddie Gilbert married Medusa.
I know. Isn't that going to be something to read in her book?
No kidding.
That chapter. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of short-lived.
Yeah.
Short-lived.
Yeah.
Because I remember, when we went to Southeast Asia, she had already, divorced Eddie, and she was with Greg Valentine, who proposed to her on that Southeast Asia tour. And that didn't last. Bob,
I can't talk.
You're silent. What's going on?
It's 30 years in wrestling, and very rarely did we talk about who was dating who.
Right.
It just didn't come up in the old days,
No,
People
it was
were
kind of
really quiet about it.
Yeah, and Eddie, of course, with Missy Hyatt, then Medusa, and there was, that stuff happens in the business. I mean, there's a lot of relationships to this day.
My heart swells just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a love, and Missy Hyatt, Jason Hervey. I can't wait because we have that live remote from Scores we're going to be playing this year. That's going to be kind of cool. I mean, a lot of stuff. But yeah, Eddie Gilbert and Medusa getting married, that was a eyebrow raiser, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And by the way, just as a little bit of trivia here, the Dark Patriot was Eddie Gilbert's brother.
Doug?
That was Doug Gilbert was the Dark Patriot.
No kidding.
In Global. And I totally forgot that Bruce Prichard had anything at all to do with Global.
Yeah.
Another thing that just escaped me after all these years. I can't even picture that.
He's so resilient, that guy, to this day. I mean,
Teflon.
I know. He is Teflon, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's entrenched in WWE, and more power to him, I guess. So.
Yes, he's kind of Vince's go-to.
From what I understand.
Right-hand guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. creative guy. I mean, you can't take that away from Bruce Prichard. He's come up with a lot of really interesting ideas over the years.
Yeah, and there's no go between when you talk to someone and when they give their opinions of Bruce. It's an interesting. Everyone has an interesting take on Bruce Prichard.
I met him a few times, and I'm sure he doesn't remember me at all. But nice guy. He seemed always upbeat. I never saw him dour, sour. He was always the first to extend a hand to everybody.
Yes, and I was in conversations with him not too long ago. I guess it was in the fourth quarter because they had interest in my archives, about doing something with my archives, and so I was negotiating with him and a couple others in the company, and we didn't come to an agreement because I have a in my heart, I know what I think my stuff is worth, and in their business model, they have an idea what they're willing to pay, which is to undercut you, and I'm not going down that road. So anyway, but Bruce was very respectful, very nice, and we had some couple really good conversations last year. It was kind of cool.
I imagine selling your work to the WWE is almost like going to a pawn shop with a Rolex. And you know what it's worth. You know what your watch is worth.
Yeah.
And then they give you a price, and you're like, "Huh? What? Who?"
Yeah.
It's like you know that everything is subject to a markup somewhere along the line, and it's certainly not coming into your pocket.
It was like the films, the films and all the archive photographs. I mean, because the Andre debut at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's stuff that they don't have. I have the only known footage of Andre making his debut at Madison Square Garden. There's no other footage.
Let me pick your brain. When Andre debuted, were they calling him Andre at that point?
It was the first time ever he was called Andre the Giant.
Is that right?
It was Vince McMahon Sr., who gave him the name.
Because he was
the Giant Jean Farry.
Yes. I never pronounced that name right. I always called him John Fair,
Yeah.
Because I read it in a magazine.
And Andre Roussimoff, and I mean, so
right.
I never forget when we found out he was going to be at the Garden, and we saw coming Andre the Giant. It was like, Andre the Giant, that's that guy Jean Farry, But they changed his name, and that was the first night he used Andre the Giant. It was March 23rd, 1973, at Madison Square Garden.
And he was a worldwide sensation before he even got into the Garden.
Oh, absolutely.
He was something else when he was young. Very athletic. People forget that.
Yeah.
But when he started, he was really athletic.
No, I mean, even when he made that debut at the Garden, those shows, I mean, the bolo punches that he used to throw, and he was agile. And I remember him in a tag match against Don Leo Jonathan. The guy really, for his size, was just incredible. And what a massive specimen of a man he was. But I licensed some of that footage to the WWE for their Hidden Treasure show that was on A&E. And so and I had discussions with their archives department even before I was getting back in to the business. And in 2018, early 19, it was I had meetings with them because I reached out to them, and they loved what I had, especially on the footage. But then when they saw the comprehensive list of the archives, 10,000 pictures from that era, that are all the negatives. But the one thing that was interesting is that they also wanted to include in the deal all the audio tapes.
Really?
Yeah.
Would that mean you'd lose the rights to them if you sold them?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
So, but everything happens for a reason. It wasn't anywhere. It wasn't meant to be, and so there are no discussions anymore with them at this point. But hey, listen, I just know that what I have, there'll be a number someday that I think I will get from somebody that will be okay. That's the number. Right. And then it will go.
Don't settle, John. That's all I'm saying.
No. And the thing is the most important thing to me right now. Obviously, I'd love to find someone to buy the archives, just because you get up there in years, and it will be a nice little retirement. But the audio tapes are off the table. I mean, because I have 3 more years of this stuff to cover with everybody. And once that's done, it's done. But we still have another 3 years to go. So that the tapes are critical to doing the show, obviously.